Good morning. Welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is AJ Juraska. I'm the intern minister here, and my pronouns are they, them. This congregation is a chosen village of all ages where we share our lives and work to become the people we've always wanted to be and build the world we've always wanted to live in. Whoever you love, whatever you believe, wherever you are on life's journey, all who are welcoming are welcomed here. And it is good to be here together this morning. Let's sing. Please rise in body or in spirit. This is number 1017, Building a New Way. And please remain standing for the chalice lighting and sung response.
You may be seated. Good morning. Welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. Welcome to our House of Hope. My name is Renee Garcia, and I use she, her pronouns. I love this church because of the connections I have made with other people here. That's why when I talk with folks who are struggling with life, I emphasize to them the importance of community. I'd like to give a special welcome to anyone visiting us for the first time. We encourage you to stop by our table in the Welcome Center so that we can give you a goodie bag, get you signed up for our weekly email bulletin, and answer any questions you might have. And we also hope you'll stick around after the service for a few minutes and have some coffee with us. We'd love to get to know you. This community has events happening all throughout the week. I encourage you to go to our website at liveoakuu.org and click on What's Happening to learn about all that's going on. Do this every Sunday night so that you can fill out your schedule for the week ahead. One thing happening after the service today is a JEDI team meeting, and that stands for Justice, Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion, and they'll be meeting in the library at 12:30. And also remember that next Sunday is our Fall Family Fest, So wear your Halloween costume and stay after the service to have fun with us. And we need to light our chalice. My apologies. My pages got put out of order. Logan is going to help us do that this morning. And please stand. Thank you. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith, a faith built on the foundation of freedom, reason, and tolerance, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that envisions a world flourishing in equality for all people, a faith that demands living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. This tiny flame symbolizes the spark of this faith that lives within each of us. Please join with me in our sung response.
You may be seated. How do we do all the things we do here at Live Oak? Well, it's pretty simple. We take turns and share in the responsibilities of being an active community. This month, we have a special need for teachers. Here to tell us more about that is Chris Jarman.
Hello, teachers, facilitators, guides, however you want to say it. So we are growing and our kids are coming regularly, and we have a little bit of a deficit of adults to be in the classroom. So I'm looking for some folks who are willing to be trained to work with our preschool kids. They're adorable, pre-K through 3.5, actually first grade in that class. And I'm also looking for subs because like today, we had someone that had to go out of town, and then their sub was sick, and then their sub was sick. Yeah, it makes it really challenging. So we're also looking for facilitators if you're interested in learning how to facilitate adult RE. And I hold your hand the entire way. I prep everything for you. And I will say that in all my years doing this, when you ask someone who volunteers with our kids or volunteers in a learning situation, they always say that they learn more than the people that they are facilitating, because it helps you to ground in your faith and learn your faith in a different way. So I invite you, if you would like to learn more about faith development and how you can volunteer with us, I will be in the fellowship hall after the service. Come talk to me. Thank you.
The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering be our yes to the practice of Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation. And may our gifts represent our yes to the mission of Live Oak, to embrace joy, enrich connections, encourage growth, and empower dreams. And now an offering will be taken to sustain the work of this church.
So I'm Chris Jarman. I'm your Director of Faith Development, she, her pronouns. And I want to share a story with you today called The Great Kapok Tree. And I hear this is working. Is it working? Two men, maybe. Excuse our technical difficulties today. This is called grace. Two men walked into the rainforest moments before the forest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered how they had come. And I'm going to say that that's not the right, we're not on the right slide. Can we start over, David, and could you do the slides for me? Awesome. Thank you, David. The larger man stopped and pointed to the great kapok tree, and then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard as he chopped and chopped and chopped. And the man wiped off the sweat as it ran down his face and his neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and the hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree, and he slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree, and then the huge snake slid very close to the man's ear and hissed, "Señor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home. This is where the generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop down this tree." A bee buzzed in the sleepy man's ear. "Señor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and from flower to flower, collecting pollen. This way I pollinate the trees and the flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another." A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. "Señor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come down another and another, and the roots of these trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert." A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. "Señor," squawked the bird, "you may not cut down the tree. We have flown over the rainforest to see what happens once you begin chopping down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain." A bright, small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped into the man's ear, "Señor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many, many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree." A jaguar had been sleeping along the branch in the middle of the tree because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory. No one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man, and he growled in his ear, "Señor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" 4 tree porcupines swung down, branch to branch, and whispered to the man, "Señor, do you not know what animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And Señor, do you know what these trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the trees, you will destroy that which gives all of us life." Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleepy man, "Señor, you're chopping down the tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know that what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world with no trees." A three-toed sloth who had begun climbing down the canopy when the man first laid down, only now did she reach him, plodding over so slowly over to the sleepy man. She spoke in her deep and lazy voice. "Señor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of this rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?" A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleepy man and murmured in his ear, "Señor, when you awake, please look upon all of us with new eyes." The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amongst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants dangled in the air and suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and he picked up that axe. He swung his arm back as though to strike that tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and he looked at the animals and he looked at the child. He hesitated. And then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. And we're still having technical difficulties. The great kapok tree, in the great kapok tree, the man doesn't save the whole forest. He doesn't invent a new machine or lead a movement. He simply listens, and then he chooses to act with compassion. That moment may seem small, but it's the seed of the great turning, because every great change begins when someone decides to pay attention to the voice of the earth, to the cry of another human being, to the quiet truth inside themselves that says, "This is sacred. This deserves to live." Our Unitarian Universalist faith teaches us that we are part of the interdependent web of all of existence, and that our choices matter within that web. Each of us, in our own way, is standing beneath the kapok tree, invited to listen. And each of us has the power to say, "I will protect, I will care, I will help the world turn towards life." This week, may we listen deeply, may we act gently, and plant seeds of renewal wherever we go. And with this, our story is told.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Blue
Our reading today is from Alok Vedmenon, who uses they, them pronouns and is an internationally acclaimed poet, comedian, and actor. I come up here and give a keynote about how my community, a small, invisible minority of people, are being targeted. I could request for support and care from a presumed majority of straight and cisgender people. But I'm not interested in speaking about these laws as targeting a minority. I actually want to let you know that they're targeting you too. These anti-drag laws, which are descendants from the cross-dressing laws, impact us all. Transphobia has never just targeted trans people. It targets anyone who is presumed to be disobeying society's ideas of what a man or a woman should look like. It feels very surreal to only speak about this as a minority issue when essentially what these extremists are trying to do is to deny freedom and self-authorship to all people.
When I was a kid, I was fully bought into capitalism. My birthday and Christmas were my favorite times of year, mostly because of the presents. And as a young child, I even had the idea that companies advertised on TV because they might go out of business, and we needed to support them so that they stayed in business so we could still have those products. Thankfully, my mom set me straight and explained that actually commercials are very expensive, so it's only the businesses who are doing very well, typically, that can buy those commercials. She didn't buy more of the products than we needed, but I didn't really realize until later that there were other stories to tell. I was really bought into this idea of business as usual, which is one of the stories that Joanna Macy and Molly Brown write about. They say there are 3 stories of our time. There's business as usual, the great unraveling, and the great turning. And we'll talk about each of these, starting with business as usual. This is the story of the industrial growth society. It's all about power and profit over people. It's about getting ahead, growing the economy, and it really upholds the powers that be, like capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, ableism, the list goes on. Many people think that this is the only story, and many of us at times think that this is the story as well, because we're so inundated with all of these messages on a daily basis. But thankfully, there's another story, and that story is the great unraveling. And it is a true story, but we'll get to our third story in a little bit. The great unraveling is the idea that all of these powers are causing harm around the world. And colonialism and other extractive practices are really upending our living systems and have been doing so for centuries. It's the story of human enslavement, which continues to this day, refugee crises, climate crises, military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, the list goes on. You get the picture. So with the Great Unraveling, one of the issues of telling just that story is that we can lose hope and we can feel like there's no point in taking any action. Or what can happen is we might tell ourselves, well, they haven't come for me yet, so I'm fine. Or we might say, they'll get to me eventually, so I will help out. But actually, we need to see ourselves as more interdependent than that. And I want to share an Instagram post that came from someone who shared a James Baldwin quote and clarified its meaning.
James Baldwin writing in a letter to Angela Davis, "If they take you in the morning, they will be coming for us that night," is the absolute truth. And you've been probably hearing it a lot more lately. But I feel like a lot of people, how they're understanding this is because they're going to come for you eventually, that is the reason why you should resist and fight back. Or because you know that they will eventually make their way through the line, you should fight back because it will soon be you. But that's not it. Notice there was no because in Baldwin's statement. He said, if they take you in the morning, they will be coming for us at night. The way that I've always understood the statement is, by the time they've come for you, they've already come for me too. Already when they come for anyone, everyone should be fighting back. By the time they come for the first person, everybody should already be ready. Because racist, ableist, capitalist colonialism breeds individualism, people often react only when they think they are immediately impacted. But when you're interdependent, you understand that one person being impacted is in fact you being impacted as well. So if they take you in the morning, everyone should already be ready to fight back. Everyone. If they take you in the morning, even before they take you in the morning, everyone should already be ready to fight back. That is collective liberation.
So, yeah. So this is similar to what our reading shared today from Alok Vedmenon. Alok really shares that we need to be caring about these issues, not just because they affect trans people or immigrants or people over there, but because they affect us too. When the legislature comes after trans people, they're really coming after all of our self-authorship and self-expression. But the great news is there's another story, and that story is the Great Turning. And I heard Roxanne Gay again on Instagram share her thoughts about the future, which get to the story of the Great Turning. So let's listen to that.
Do you feel hopeful or pessimistic looking forward?
I mean, if I don't read the news, I feel fine, but I would like to believe that I am an optimistic pessimist in that things are pretty grim, but it would be such a luxury to give up on progress and to just say that there's no hope. I have two nieces who are incredible, 14 and 13, and every time I talk to them, I'm like, I don't know what you just said, but it's amazing, and they teach me lots of things like Delulu and leaving no crumbs. And when I see how awesome they are and how smart they are and how excited, like, they don't believe in the word no, and they don't believe in the word can't. So of course I have to be optimistic that young kids are going to rise up into a world where they have rights and freedoms.
So this is really the story of the Great Turning, which is the idea that we can transition from the industrial growth society into a life-sustaining society. Joanna Macy and Molly Brown write on their website, in the Great Turning, the wisdom of indigenous traditions and ancient spiritual practices helps us understand and experience the interconnectedness of life. Attitudes shift from exploitation to respect, from extraction to regeneration, from competition to cooperation. They go on to say, our solidarity with one another deepens as we respond to the crises of the Great Unraveling. Movements for social justice provide essential leadership as we repair and renew the living systems of Earth. In the story of the Great Turning, we join together to act for the sake of life on earth. This is similar to our story that we had in the reading today, which Chris so wonderfully summed up. We want to think about what we can do to be a part of the Great Turning. And there's a prophecy called the Shambhala Warrior Prophecy that's a 1,200-year-old prophecy, Tibetan prophecy, that Joanna Macy talks about. And it's basically the idea that at some point there will become great strife. I think we're experiencing that right now. And at its worst moment, the kingdom of Shambhala will rise up. And the kingdom of Shambhala is not a place. It's actually in the hearts and minds of the Shambhala warriors. And the Shambhala warriors are people who know that the weapons of the powers that rise up in this great strife are man-made and can be disassembled by humans as well. So let's hear a little bit more from Joanna Macy about what it takes to train to be a Shambhala warrior.
So the time is upon us, he said, when the Shambhala warriors go into training. Well, you can imagine. I said, how do they train? And he said they train in the use of two weapons. And that was the term he used. What are they, I asked. And he held up his hands the way the lamas hold the ritual objects in the great lama dances of this people. And he said, one is compassion, and the other is insight into the radical interdependence of all phenomena. And you need both. One is not enough. You need the compassion because that provides you the fuel, the motive force to get you out there where you need to be to do what you need to do. And what it consists of, basically, is not being afraid of the suffering of your world. And you know, when you're not afraid of the suffering of your world, nothing can stop you. But that by itself, he said, is too hot. It can burn you out. So you need the other. You need that wisdom, that insight into the mutual belonging of everything that is interwoven as it is in the web of life. And when you have that, you see, you know that this is not a war between the good guys and the bad guys, but that the line between good and evil runs through the landscape of every human heart. And we are so interwoven in the web of life that even the smallest act with clear intention has repercussions through that web that we can barely see.
So it is our task to become like the Shambhala warriors, to hold compassion and be able to see the suffering of our world without fear, and to understand our radical interdependence with the world at the same time. So what does this look like? Well, it's going to look different for all of us. But it might look like going to a rally, as I know many of you did yesterday, to speak out against issues that are affecting us and the people around us. It might look like coming to church, like you did today, and welcoming new people, making new friends, but also maintaining relationships with old friends as well. It may also look like repairing relationships, because we know if we're in relationship long enough, we will need to do some repair, and we will make mistakes. I really like that today we had some technical glitches and mistakes, because it's a great reminder that we all do that and that things happen in the world. So can we accept that with grace and find a way to move forward? You can also speak up in your businesses. You can garden and plant local plants and you can restore ecosystems, even if it's just within your own backyard. Because as Joanna Macy says, even small acts can have great ripple effects in the interconnectedness of the world around us. Now, I want to say what this is not, because corporations really like to tell us it's up to us as individuals to recycle, but they don't want to take responsibility for creating products that aren't sustainable and aren't compostable. So while I still encourage recycling, I just want to caution us that we not shame ourselves or other people for not being able to do everything to change the world around us. We need to do something, but we can't do everything. So please give others grace and give yourself grace in this work, and know that your work matters, even if it's small. I really like our UU values, of which we have 7. And in the UUA bylaws, the definition of interdependence is, we honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Now, this sounds pretty lofty, and there are days where I don't always get this right. But the goal is for each of us to do the small things that we can, to hold that compassion and be willing to face the suffering of our worlds, and to understand our interdependence with the world around us. And in doing so, maybe, just maybe, we can make the world the place that we all deserve to live in. May it be so, and blessed be. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields or mend a broken bridge or rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soil, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. I would add that it is where we give words to the yearning of our hearts. In that spirit, let us pray." Gaia, Mother Earth, please help us to understand how to not be afraid of the suffering of our world, how to tell ourselves a different story than the one that has been handed to us, to see the difficulty around us and understand the story of the great unraveling, but still be able to turn towards the story of the great turning. May we be able to do things small and large to help the world around us, whether it's fellow humans or gardens or plants or ecosystems. May we have courage and hope when hope seems hard to find. May we do all of this with love and grace and acceptance and humility. May it be so, and blessed be. Being in community, we share our lives with each other, including significant milestones, joys, and sorrows. Today, Judy shares, "I'm happy to know early voting starts tomorrow." This is a sorrow from Sam. "I share the deep sorrow for the recent death by suicide of my former partner, Shelley. I ask that we hold her in our hearts and help release her spirit from that pain, honoring her life as a reminder that each day and each life is precious. Colleen shares, struggling with my inability to sing after my thyroid surgery, hoping it resolves soon so I can sing in church and to my granddaughter. Mark says, I have released my book today to my advanced readers. I will publish in November. Emily shares, please send prayers and healing energy to my partner Remy. They're having open heart surgery. Catherine shares, please keep Rachel Sarton in your thoughts. She had a fall on Friday and has some injuries. George says, had an awesome week at the Association for Play Therapy International Conference in Houston. And Luann shares, the No Kings Rally was an inspiring and energetic exercise. We are being counted as standing for our values. May democracy live. May we bear witness with the concerns both expressed and silent in our hearts. Amen, and blessed be. Please join me in singing. May you know that you are deeply loved and cared for, and that you are an integral part in the interdependence of our world. May you act with compassion and humility towards making the great turning and the society that gives all of us what we need possible. May it be so, and blessed be.
Please rise and join us in singing We Shall Be Known by Mamuse, and remain standing for our chalice extinguishing.
We shall be
Let us say these words to each other as we extinguish our chalice. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. You may be seated. What a gift it has been to be together today. Thank you to today's home team, that stands for Hospitality and Membership, who provided hospitality and worship and tech leadership. That includes David, Amy, Dory, Mary, Charles, Cassandra, Rosie, Tina, Sue, and Logan. Let's continue that hospitality by spending the next 5 minutes talking with someone you don't yet know. Members, be sure to introduce yourself to any first-time visitors we have. Those are the ones with the handwritten name tags. Show them where to find the visitors table and the coffee. And may we all know the blessings of fellowship.